Hey, it's Heather, and welcome to another adventure in gardening. We're at the end of week 6, and I'm going to be actually doing a little seed starting this week. Now, I just did a video last week on my top 7 tips for seed starting, and I encourage you to check it out, even if you've started your seeds a million times, okay, and you totally know what you're doing. Check out, there's a couple of tips in there, and I probably will be doing a couple of them today here too. But one of the things that I talked about was to hold back a little bit. Try not to be too anxious in starting those seeds because it is a little too early for people in zone 6, okay, or people, in zones lower than zone 6. It's a little early for us. You need to know when your frost date is, and you also need to know not just the frost date. You need to know about what plants don't mind the cold, okay? Now, there is snow on the ground out here. We have had a lot of snow. I did a video a few weeks back that, what was it called? Why do I live where the air hurts my face, or something about, plants that make me want to go outside even when the air hurts my face. And I said, we don't have blankets of snow all winter long, and we have had blankets of snow for weeks now, and it's wonderful. It really is, because snow is a great insulator, so I'm not complaining. The snow is there. It's wintertime, okay? I live in New England. It's wintertime. There should be snow on the ground, so snow it is. So knowing what plants can go out earliest, okay? So doing them in a particular order, which brings me to today. Onions, okay? If you're going to do onions from seed, you need to start them earlier than other things. So for me, that is technically next week, but I know. I get anxious just like everybody else. I want to start something, right? So this week, next week, starting the onions. Now, you have to have a post-germination plan for anything that any seeds that you're starting indoor. So I do have a plan, okay? Now I'm in a room here that gets southeast exposure. Still not enough, okay? So I'm just doing 1 tray of onions because I want to get them started. And if I have to move them in and out on warmer days or out to the greenhouse for shelter, just so that they get enough sun. You need to have your seedlings get enough sun. I'm going to do whatever it takes, okay? I hear you. I know people are anxious to get started with their seeds. Me too. So I'm going to talk to you while I plant my onion seeds. Now before I do, I want to tell you this is my first time planting onions from seed. I have done it from sets as a massive failure, okay, in the past, and I know why that is now, okay? So when you buy onion sets, I did a lot of research, I watched a lot of YouTube, I took into consideration different people's techniques of starting their onions from seed, and I've decided to kind of merge a couple of different things together for me that made sense for me to do. But the reason that the sets didn't work out is because when you buy onion sets, the sets already think they've gone through a winter, so they have that one job in mind, and that's to produce seeds. So I've always gotten a few onions from the onion sets. My understanding is that if you can wait and plant your onion sets later, there's a daylight trigger thing. I don't know. I'm going to just do them from seed and do my own. So let's get started. So this is my potting bench, and I have my tray full of seed starting soil that I filled this morning, and there is a tray below it, okay, the one that doesn't have any holes that catches the water. I filled that with water, and I let the soil wick up as much water as it wanted to. So when I start my seedlings, I like my soil to be already moistened so that I don't have to water the seedlings after, okay, and disturb them after. So this is ready to go. And so what I settled on as far as how I'm going to do the onions is I love Charles Dowding. I did his beets and turnips the way that he did them last year, and in modules, okay, where you're planting. For the beets and turnips, it was like 3. You put 3 seeds in each thing, and they would grow together. So they did, the outside they pushed against each other and still grew to a full size. And as the season would go by, you would pull one, and eat it a little earlier, making room so that they would continue to grow. So I'm going to do onions, and I'm going to put 6 seeds in each one. Did I decide on 5 or 6? 5. I'm going to put 5 seeds in each one, and that way I will have from each module, from each little, this is a 72 tray, okay, I will be able to pull 2 out for spring onions and let the rest of them bulb up, starting late June is when they start to bulb up. So that's how I'm going to be planting this tray. So 5 seeds in each one. Really, Piper? Really, Piper? And I am putting them on a heat tray, okay? And I'm going to use a dome, and as soon as they germinate, I'm going to take both of those things away. So other things on my potting bench that I wanted to show you right here. Move the cat's tail. I'll show you a close-up in a little bit, but this is a tomato plant that has been here for most of the, since fall. It's been there. And it's a red robin, and I took it in with green tomatoes on it, and we had little cherry tomatoes until New Year's, I think, and now it's just starting to bloom again. So it's just a little experiment that I'm trying out. So I've got that on the potting bench, and I wanted to show you. This is a one of the succulents that are blooming right now. This is a Haworthia. Look at this cute little blossom. It's white and green. Isn't that pretty? It'll bloom for a really long time. So the succulents are just starting to, other ones are starting to put their little buds on. So that's kind of fun. A couple of weeks ago, so I have to tell you a secret that, so I film things and then I don't show anybody. So I did this whole thing as part of my weekly garden talk on Coleus and me collecting seeds. I wasn't sure that it was going to work, so I'm not going to even bother, but I want to go back so I can fill you in on what I was trying to do at the time. So also on my list this week is to start my Coleus seeds. I'm going to be doing Coleus from seed for the first time. Now, I tried to do this in the summertime, where I let the stalks go to flower and then dry up, and then when I collected them, there were no seeds in there, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take my cuttings inside and let them flower and produce seeds, and so that's what's been going on the windowsill in here. This is one of my beauties. This one does not have a flower spike on it. But here's what I love learning things about plants. Here's what I learned. You gotta have good timing when it comes to collecting your Coleus seeds, because I don't know what happens. I don't know where they went, okay? They drop, maybe I vacuumed them up, I do not know. So I was really looking this morning at the flower stalks, and I saw, the flower would fall off, and then there was like this little swollen little green part to it, and then some of them would turn brown, and if I pulled those ones off that looked like they were newly brown, the seed was in there. On the other little pieces, on the other stalks that were dried up, the seed was gone. So I don't know why there's not Coleus growing everywhere, but okay, see this right here? Everyone can get these, okay? These are the plastic containers that the salad greens come in, and I have plenty of seed starting equipment. I just don't have anything in the house right here, and it's cold outside. So I've got this empty clamshell here that I have 2 pots of moistened soil that are going to go in here, and this is going to act like a little greenhouse here. And I learned that Coleus need sunlight in order to germinate, which means that they need to lay on top of the soil. And I'm just going to press them in and then put them in the little greenhouse until they germinate. So here we are. What is this? The second week of February. I've cut all of the flower blossoms off of the Coleus, okay, because I want them to start branching, and that I'll take cuttings from them. Now, I do not need to start Coleus from seed. It's really just a fun experiment that I'm doing. But this is, here's my little seedlings. So I have 2 pots of these, and it'll just be fun to see, see what I get. Maybe something new, something different. Piper! Oh, you're a big girl. So anyway, so that's my little Coleus, my Coleus seedling experiment. I'll share with you as soon as they start to get some color. I'll fill you in. So if you watched my seed starting, my 7 tips for seed starting, I opened this very, very carefully to make sure that I keep the tape on, because this is going to slow my seeds down as they come out, okay? So I'm just going to start putting 6 seeds in each one. I'm going to put 5 seeds in each one. I know everyone is itching to get started on planting something. And I have to tell you, as long as you have your seeds in your hand, the thing to be anxious about right now is making sure that you have your soil, okay? Getting your soil and all of those little things. I noticed as I was getting my seeds out, I'm like, oh man, I need better tags this year, because I'm still using popsicle sticks, and popsicle sticks have failed me miserably. And you'd think that I would learn, because they're porous and everything kind of just fades off of it, and here I am using them again. So this week, that's on my list to do, okay, is to get some kind of new tag for my seed starting, something that will last the season. So when I was, we're all looking for like little things to keep us busy this time of year that pertain to gardening, so we feel like we're moving forward in that, direction that we want to go in. And so I was downstairs, and I don't have seeds in one place. I don't even know why I do this, but I've got seeds I've got some in the refrigerator, and then I've got 3 different places in the basement that I'm keeping seeds in. And I found a stash of seeds that Piper, I found a stash of seeds that I had totally forgotten about. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they are not on my calendar. So this coming week would be a good week to kind of look at your calendar again and make sure everything that you're going to start from seed, that you've done that backup from your frost kind of thing, and make sure that it's in there. Otherwise you forget about them. What was the one thing that I'm like, oh my gosh, it begins with an M, maish, yeah, the maish. That was one of them. Mizuna is downstairs, streaked lime Mizuna that I saved the seeds from, and it was like in the weirdest place. So I do have some work to do in making sure everything is on my calendar. And I encourage you, if you want to feel more successful in this coming year, a calendar is the way to go. Mark your calendar so that you have your plan, and then it's amazing because you can put your first planting on there, but after you get it all laid out, then you're like, oh man, can I do like a second planting? Yeah, you can, okay? So then you can figure out when to do your second planting, and when can you do your last planting of the season. All those kind of things need to be in there on your calendar. So I am planting the Glabo onions that I got from Baker Creek. And I'm also planting, oh, I'm gonna run out of seeds. Oh, I'm also planting red onions that I saved the seeds for. So It was 2 years ago. I did red onion sets, and again, I got a few onions out of it, lots of onion greens. These are my saved red onion seeds. So this is the good thing that came out of it, was I ended up with all of these seeds. So 2 years ago, I planted the onion sets, and then last year is when it flowered and went to seed. So I'm going to be putting them in the same tray. I've got them marked here. So that way I'll have some red onions, and then I'll have some of these really good keeping onions too. So when I'm doing a crop for the first time and I'm doing my research and I'm gathering all the information, of how people do things, there's really no right or wrong way. I mean, yeah, there is a right and a wrong way, but within the right way, there are variations, okay? People are going to do things differently. Does that make them wrong? No, it does not. It just makes it makes us want to take and gather the information and take what is going to work for us. And that's what I've done with these onions, because I mean there's a couple of different ways of doing them, and I'm just like, you know what, I can't be bothered to divide all of those little tiny onions in the springtime when I go to plant them. That would drive me a little crazy. So I'm going to go this way. So there's 5 seeds, around 5 seeds planted in each little cell here, and now I'm tucking them in, and I'm going to put them on the heat mat with the dome until they germinate, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do from there. So what have you done this week? Have you done anything out in the garden, or are you planting seeds? Leave me a message below, because I would love to hear what you're up to. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed visiting with me today, and if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe so that we can stay in touch and you don't miss out on the next adventure in gardening. See you soon.